Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, and we got a little special for you tonight. One of our midnight bullshits. We are going to be talking about Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree. Little prediction video. As of recording
Woo.
this, we have a few days coming until we have Shadow of the Erdtree, which I and my co-host Brewer are very excited for.
Oh yeah, I'm so fucking ready.
So yeah, we thought we would dedicate a little bit of time here because of the hype around the DLC and our hype as well. We thought, hey, why not make a predictions video as to what is going to be in the DLC? So I'll let you get things started off, Brewer, because I know you have a lot of thoughts about certain characters and what the plot and the lore will be revealing.
Ooh, yeah. A lot of my predictions mostly are just coming down to Miquella right now. Like the new weapons and stuff, new lands. Yeah, that's cool, but like I want some answers on Miquella because they're a very important figure in the base game, but also you never interact with them at all because the loathsome child molester went and stole Miquella when he was in his cocoon.
I.e.
So
Moog, yeah.
Moog, the loathsome child molester, yes.
Which is actually how you're going to be able to access the DLC. You have to beat Moog, and then you have to touch Mikolas' hand, like, in the egg. So my prediction with Miquella is that I think we're being misled. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Before that,
I
though, I do
like
want to
all
say
the
one quick thing.
yeah, of
You said
course.
we got to beat up Moog. That just makes Elden Ring even more based. We beat up the child molester to get access to the DLC. Let's go.
Exactly. Beat up Dream and Drake just so we can play Peak. That's awesome.
Moog tried to
But
summon an outer god, but he did it in A minor.
Jesus. Um, but
Oh, man.
um, but Mikola as a character is very mysterious because we really don't have that much context on Mikola. Hell, we don't even see his face in the game. The only thing we really know about him is that he's cursed with eternal youth. He's trying to revive himself, like create a new body that can become an adult. And Moog kind of interrupted that process. Not only that, but apparently Mikola was like a charismatic figure that like led a lot of misfits to him, and he was able to house and nurture these people. But
Yeah,
besides
that's
that,
that.
we really don't know a lot about Miquella. That's the one demigod that we know that we don't actually physically see their face. We only see like their arm.
Yeah, which is still crazy for how important they are because, like, Melania's whole relationship with Miquella is very pivotal for her character. And then Miquella as well, like his Tree sets a lot of the basis for like the opposition to the Golden Order. But that and also just him stretching his hands out not only to just the ones that fit within the Golden Order standards, but also to like the omens and like a lot of those that don't fit within the Golden Order. So they were just sent to the sewers or just set in other places to rot. But at the same time, while Miquella is a figure that like is seen as like what's the best way to put this? He's seen as a lover to
Kind of like
all,
a what?
maybe like as someone who doesn't discriminate. Like he loves everyone equally. So even those that are misfit, he allows into his Tree for protection. But even then, there is some flavor text on him that's like very interesting that makes me think otherwise.
Yeah, Mikola actually carries like a good amount of secrets with him. Like, there's been a lot of speculation about the character known as Saint Trina, which all of the lore and predictions lead to Saint Trina being Mikola. It's just like an alias that he uses. So I'm wondering if we're going to see that in the DLC as well, like Mikola's like secret identity or like another life that he's living.
Yeah, the one thing I do find interesting with Saint Trina is that mysterious figure did kind of disappear at one point, which, if we take into the account Mr. Child Molester stole Miquella at one point, then maybe that's why Saint Trina stopped showing up. That, or maybe when Miquella went into his cocoon, Saint Trina also went as well, because I feel like it could be like a Radagon Marika situation to where maybe they're sharing the same body, or maybe it's just an alter ego, like he can kind of project himself out like Morgott does with Margit. That's kind of the ladder I'm leaning on right now.
Margit is not a projection. That's just Morgott.
I think he can still do projections though, because like he's all the way in Lanedale, and then he can come to Stormvale, like kind of teleport himself or something.
I guess like okay, I get what you mean with like the teleportation because you can actually fight like a quote unquote like mini boss Margit right outside of Lane Dell, but I don't think that's like a direct projection because he like acknowledges you as the Tarnished who like beat him.
I don't
You
know,
know what I
either that
mean?
or maybe possibly like Goldfree or like the Spirit Godfrey. A lot of people theorize that's like Morgoth's doing because that is his dad, but also because it matches the same like golden light that a lot of his attacks use.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
it
know.
could like be a projection
Either
from Morgoth.
yeah, either way, I am of the opinion that Saint Trina, regardless of whether they're a projection or not, they are Miquella, just an alter ego.
I think so as well. I'm one thing that I'm wanting an answer to is in the DLC, like from the story trailer and all the promotion, we see Miquella in a normal body, and I'm
Yeah,
wondering how.
I, there's so many questions unanswered right now, especially like what entirely the Land of Shadows is. Because originally for the DLC, people were predicting that it would be like Miquella's dream, but after the trailers they revealed, I don't think it can really be that anymore. Like for how big the Land of Shadows is and what it is, I don't feel like it's a dream at all. If anything, I see it more as like a land of exile. Maybe that's why Messmer is doing his impaling. Like
Yeah, from the
Marika's sending them
description,
there.
from the descriptions of the DLC itself, like it says that like the Land of Shadow was a land that America hid from everyone else, that were full of people who were I would say unholy or people who went up against the Golden Order. So she
Yeah.
kind of like erased this part of the lands between from history, which leads into actually Messmer, his character. I want to talk about him. He is a completely new character that was not mentioned prior at all in the base game of Elden Ring, which leads me to believe that Marika is like the gameplay trailer, the story trailer, and the descriptions have led us to believe uh that Mesmer the Impaler works under Marika, but I don't think that's true. I actually think that it is a guise, that he is also just he's a person who is misfitted and he was banished to the Land of Shadow, but because he's a demigod, he feels he has authority. That's my theory.
Mm, yeah. It, it's so weird. Like you said, there is like nothing said about him at all, or any mention of like another demigod. I mean, I know there was definitely some other like I know there's an accessory that mentioned other princesses other than Rani. So like that's very possible for Messmer as well. Cause like I'm feeling like if he's a child of America, seeing the naming convention they have, he would probably be a child of Radagon and America. Because along with his red hair as well, it would fit the naming convention. Because like each different spouse that like America and Radagon had, it led to a naming convention, usually with the start of their name. And I feel
Yeah.
like Messmer fits more so in with Melania Miquella.
Yeah, that's something that George R. R. Martin does with his character naming. If all the like big characters in this game are named with like either G, R, or M's, and oh wow, who helped write the game? George R. R. Martin. Wow, that's crazy.
Man, I never would have guessed.
But
Yeah.
I want you with your naming convention, like that is a good point of like how is he related to these other demigods? Because we know he is a demigod, but we don't know like his relations to everyone else yet.
Yeah. Well, also,
I'm
like, it isn't like he was an. He doesn't seem to be an omen as well, unless if he's got some hidden horns on his back or something. Because if he was an omen, then I could see why he would be exiled into Land of Shadows, forced to do something. But no, he looks completely healthy and fine. So, like, why exactly is he in the Land of Shadows? What is it? And how? What is this whole other culture? Is it like related to like the Crucible, like the age before the Erdtree, maybe? So I'm thinking with like the Lion Beast dancers, the Crucible beforehand, like a lot of what the Erdtree shuns is the era before that, which had like a lot of beast relation. which I'd argue like goes hand in hand with like the omens, why they're so despised, because like they really hate a lot of those animalistic features like the horns and whatnot. So maybe the lion dancers are kind of similar in that vein. They're related to like some beast people, so that's why they're despised. And
I.e., they hate furries.
they hate furries. America hates
There's
furries,
actually
confirmed.
to go alongside that, I think a thing that might have caused him to go into the Land of Shadow, he has the Dragon Communion eyes.
Yeah, he does have that. That, and he has like little snake man around too.
Yes, and he's wearing like some version of the Drake armor, which, if you don't know, that was an armor bestowed upon to people who would go through Dragon Communion, which was actually looked down upon in the lore of Elden Ring. There are people who consumed the hearts of dragons, whether they're ancient dragons or the wyverns, to gain the powers of dragons, and that's how you get Dragon Communion incantations. But a byproduct of that is that their bodies would physically change to become quote unquote dragons, but failed dragons. And that's what the magma worms are. The magma worms are not natural creatures, they're people who went through Dragon Communion and transformed.
Yeah, but I think you mentioned this point before. We haven't seen a demigod do the Dragon Communion too much, and we haven't seen a result of that, so maybe it could be different. I think my
I
prediction
have
for Messmer is he's heavily based off the character Groombeld from Berserk. So that character can transform into a dragon. Messmer may just transform into a dragon.
No, that's actually like, I think that might be the second phase, because Mesmer's helmet is very heavily inspired off Grunbeld, and the fact that he has the Dragon Communion eyes just signifies to me that his phase 2 is most likely going to be a dragon, which, if so, that's actually going to be one of the rawest like transitions in the whole series.
Oh yeah.
But
I
like,
think while
it's
we're talking
funny.
about Messmer, I know you mentioned before that you don't think he's going to be the final boss.
Oh no, I don't think so. FromSoft does a very good job of hiding like their final bosses or like really secret hidden bosses. Messmer was revealed in the first trailer of the DLC. Like, why would they reveal the quote unquote antagonist, main villain of the DLC this early? That, and all the promotion has been around Messmer, which is leading me to believe why Messmer isn't the main antagonist. I think it's Miquella.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be like a case of Melania where like he's one of the ones in the main promotional materials, but he's a special secret boss, because like they wouldn't have advertised him as heavily with his battle as well if he wasn't a main story boss. But I can see it be like a trick around, because like we don't know his whole reason for going on a genocide spree yet.
Exactly.
I mean, not that that's
Like, obviously
justified,
he's inspired
but
off Vlad the Impaler as well, so I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
maybe we fight a Dracula second phase instead.
I'd be down.
Yeah. Yeah, back to the Miquella thing you were saying though, like, dude, I'm on the same page. Like, Miquella and the lore has a lot of good stuff about them, but there is just enough stuff that's fishy. Like, the biggest thing for me is this one item, the Bewitching Branch. It's a tree branch blessed with an incantation of unalloyed gold, and what you use the item for is you hit a foe with it, and it turns the foe into an ally temporarily. And the lore explanation for this is like Miquella was like very good at compelling people, so he would compel them to fight for them, sort of like Loretta, like one of the bosses in the Erdtree, and then all the other ones as well would like literally kill themselves for Miquella. But one very interesting point of dialogue in that branch is that the Empyrean Miquella is loved by many people. Indeed, he has learned very well how to compel such affection. That just kind of puts a little spin onto things, I'm thinking, to where it's like he knows how to compel people. He can act nice maybe and make them do what he wants.
I think I know where you're leading with this, and that also leads into like the physical design of Miquella and what he is inspired off of. going back into Berserk, uh, Miquella is actually is physically designed and inspired by the main antagonist of Berserk, Griffith. Which, if you have heard anything about Berserk, you know the infamy of that character. He's a very, very bad guy. But one trait that Griffith has is that he's very good at charming people and making them fight for him. And that's just a description of Griffith. Like that what you said about Miko, that is just Griffith.
Yeah, because like if you like Griffith as a character, he's one that like he is evil, but if you just look at him on the outside, like most people don't see that evil within him because they just see him as this genuinely charming, charismatic person who leads battles with these wild strategies, somehow pulls off victories that should have been impossible, but also is very caring towards all of his soldiers and the ones that he loses as well. But at the same time, he will just as easily throw them away for his benefit. I'm wondering if maybe there's something similar with Miquella. Like, he obviously does very much care for his sister. I don't think that's fake. But, like, beyond that, what is he willing to do to achieve his goals? Because, like, Malenia herself has said, like, Miquella is the fiercest Empyrean. Which, if you guys don't know, an Empyrean is one in Elden Ring that's viable to take the throne after Marika. Like, basically, they can be a vessel for the Elden Ring after her.
Yeah, so maybe like we might in this DLC, I think we're gonna get the true motivation of Miquella and what he wants to accomplish with the Elden Ring. Because another thing that Griffith, his main motivation throughout the series is that he wants to be the king of his own kingdom. And I'm wondering if that's what Miquella is building as well. These like this army of misfits and people who don't belong, use them to create his own kingdom and overthrow the Golden Order.
Yeah, because in the story trailer, they do have those people at the end that are like, will you join us? And they're like praising this symbol that maybe is probably related to Miquella in some way or Saint Trina. But I'm thinking like, man, them people probably gonna die. Like,
Probably.
either they're gonna get impaled by Mr. Messmer over there, or maybe Miquella sacrifices them, because we mentioned before that Miquella is very likely to be Saint Trina, or that we predict he is. And Saint Trina has a couple interesting depictions. One of them lines up with some of the promotional art that's out right now. Like, if any of you have seen it, like the one person in the knight armor that's holding the sword and that has golden hair. There's a depiction of Saint Trina that looks like that. But on another weapon, there's another really weird depiction of Saint Trina that has some interesting dialogue. It says, like, this is the adult form of Saint Trina, which feels like a weird thing to just point out there, that, like, there's an adult form, which is why I really feel like it is Miquella. Because Miquella is cursed with, like, being forever a child, at least in body. So, like, saying they have an adult form has implications there. But also, said adult form, like, looked a bit disfigured and had, like, a third eye for some reason. So maybe Miquella will be the secret boss, and in the second phase, he'll have, like, a third eye and be a monster.
That would not surprise me. I mean, we've seen, like, there is stuff about the demigods that we've just not seen before, like, form-wise. Like, hell, we didn't even know Malenia's goddess of rot form until she bloomed for a third time, and that's in mid boss fight. So I'm wondering if we're gonna maybe potentially see another form of Miquella if there is a boss fight of Miquella, because I genuinely do believe this. I could be completely wrong about this, but I do think Miquella is going to be the antagonist of this, or at least the real antagonist.
It's gonna be Griffith.
I've read Berserk. I see these coming from a mile away.
I can't wait for one of Miquella's servants to turn into a gigantic demon dog with one horn and beat our asses.
That'd be awesome.
I will say one thing I think could also very well happen, another prediction of mine, is if any of you did the Millicent side quest, you'll know of, like, Miquella's unalloyed gold, which was basically his prevention for Malenia's scarlet rot. Like, Malenia's prosthetics and whatnot that she uses, they're all made of unalloyed gold. That's why in her second phase, when, like, even all of her clothes, like, get rotted away, her prosthetics don't, because they're made of unalloyed gold, which can't be affected by an outer god. So one thing I'm thinking of is there's an unalloyed gold needle, right? And you can give this to a girl named Millicent that's affected by Scarlet Rot, and it helps stave off the Scarlet Rot, but it's not perfected. The thing is, it isn't helpful for just Scarlet Rot, because what it specifically does is it stops the meddlings of outer gods. Because for those of you that don't know, Malenia's Scarlet Rot isn't something she naturally has herself. The reason she has it is because an outer god, the outer god of Rot, chose her as that outer god's vessel. So what I'm thinking may happen, one thing you can do in the game is you can take that needle. If you've chose the Lord of Frenzied Flame ending, which means you've decided to take in the outer god of the Lord of Frenzied Flame from the Three Fingers, you can go to a secret area in Farum Azula, put the needle in yourself, and that will stave off or just completely erase that outer god. But it only works in that specific area because it exists outside of time. So
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's how you get rid of the Frenzy Flame.
Yeah, so that has other implications as well. Like, Miquella never tried that with Malenia, at least what we know of in the lore. So what if you could, like, communicate with Miquella, like, if you didn't kill Malenia before playing Shadow of the Erdtree, which, not me, unfortunately. But,
yeah, that's also another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. Not to interrupt you, but like when we first saw like the gameplay trailer for Shadow of the Erdtree, I thought it was gonna be in the past.
You know, I was thinking the same thing too. Like, I was thinking like, oh, are we getting a prequel to get some of the answers? But no, it doesn't seem like it is.
No, it's taking place in a completely different land, one that like America hid away. Which there's so much to interpret from that because I okay, a little embarrassing, but when Messmer first got revealed before he like name dropped himself, I thought he was a past version of Rykard.
You know what? I can see where you're coming from now, because like seeing Rykard's portraits and stuff, I could see that as maybe like a young Rykard, because they do share the red hair and whatnot.
Red hair and snakes. That's what I was thinking.
You know what that? I can see why you think that. That's pretty good. That was a pretty good theory until it was deconfirmed.
Until it was deconfirmed literally 3 seconds into it. Messmer.
Man, we're really good at predicting things when we get deconfirmed in 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, we are 23 minutes into this video. If y'all think that like any of this is right, like, I'm sorry, but like y'all are going to the wrong people for this. I thought Messmer was right.
We're not Vadi Vidya.
I wish. Dog knows what he's talking about. We don't.
Yeah. I do want to note that one thing. The one thing I was predicting with Malenia, I want to maybe predict that, like, maybe, just maybe, that, like, a lot of people theorize that, like, when Malenia does her Scarlet Ionia, they think that's the third one. But there's actually a little bit of evidence saying that maybe that was only her second one. Because Millicent and her sisters have the Scarlet Blossom as well. So the one that's right outside of Malenia's room could be from one of the sisters, especially because there's a chest nearby that has the same clothes that they were wearing. So I'm wondering if maybe Malenia will get like a new special form or something when you play the DLC. Or maybe Miquella can finally cure Malenia of her Scarlet Rot, give her the unalloyed gold and the right setting to cure her, and maybe she'll be like a secret crazy boss or something that will ass rape you 20 times harder.
They have put differences in the base game compared to like DLC versus base game stuff for in their past games. Sorry, my wording is terrible. The main one that I'm referring to though is a Sif the puppy doggy from Dark Souls 1. If y'all don't know, Sif was the best friend and the doggo of Artorias of the Abyss, the hero who slain Manus of the Abyss and saved the Kingdom of Past. You go into the past in the Dark Souls 1 DLC, where you have to save Sif before Sif turned into a giant dog. If you do this before you fight Sif in the present, the introductory cutscene for Sif will actually be different. Sif will recognize you as the person who saved him, but he knows his duty as to protect Artorias' grave, so he whimpers and then prepares for battle.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if we're going to see something similar with Melania, because Melania is by far the person who's closest to Miquella. Like, they love each
Yeah.
other. It's been confirmed in the lore. They are very close. But it's just like, will that affect Melania?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going into that. I think there's a good chance it could happen, especially for how big of a figure Melania is in Elden Ring. Not only just in the game, but like outside of it too. She's like one of the most well-known characters in Elden Ring. I feel like they would maybe do something like that.
I
Maybe
mean,
not
hell,
like
she is the
as
hardest. You first.
I was gonna say maybe not as like the actual final boss, but maybe as the like a secret boss to make everyone rage and get a lot of Twitch clips.
That'd be awesome. I could see um Melania like being a big influence in the DLC. I don't know how much we're gonna get of her though. Like, there's no real signs of it like leaning to her. You know what I
I
mean?
know, I know, but there are like a decent amount of people that like are purposely not fighting Melania right now to see if she like gets any extra dialogue. So I mean, I think it's at least food for thought.
I am doing that. I am
And
currently doing that. Yeah.
you want to know some more food for thought? I just thought of.
What's up?
So we know the reason why we got to kill Moog to get to the DLC, but Radon, I think there's a special reason.
Well, yeah,
In the
we need to
lore,
talk about that.
yeah, there's something very interesting I want to note. That's another reason why I equate Miquella to a Griffith right now. It's theorized the reason like Melania fought Radon, like especially in that intro cutscene and then like the promotional trailer for the game, is because Miquella, when Godwin died, he wanted to try to revive the soul of Godwin. Like you can see this in one of the swords that like was made by Miquella. It was blessed with a prayer saying like, "Brother, oh brother, please die a true death." But to some degree, he was trying to help Godwin, and there was apparently a ritual he was trying to do that could only happen during the eclipse. Problem is, Funny Man rides a tiny horse, Radon, was literally holding back the stars, so the eclipse couldn't happen. Which that it's theorized that's why Melania went to fight Radon, is so that they could get the stars to move again. Which they don't move at all until the player themselves goes to fight Radon. So I'm thinking maybe that's the reason we have to fight Radon before we can do the DLC. Like Moog, I can understand. Straight up kidnapped Miquella, and that's where Miquella is. But I don't get Radon as much because you don't have to fight Radon to get the Moog's Palace. I think it could certainly help getting there, but there's ways to get the Moog's Palace without that. So, like, why do we need to specifically fight Radon and not some of the other demigods? Maybe it's because we can finally enact Miquella's plan that he was never able to fully go through.
Yeah, there's also a lot of implications with Rodon too, because he opens up like, I would say like content wise, he's probably like on the upper side in terms of like very important to do, because he opens up, he's technically an optional boss, but he opens up a lot of quests in the game. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there is potentially a reason as to why um like, I mean, like you said, the theory of Mikola needing the stars to be for the stars to be um unchained so that they can help Godwin, or is there potentially an NPC in Shadow of the Erdtree that is going to be important that would not be available because of something Radon? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the Funny Man is holding the stars back.
Exactly.
Yeah. definitely some food for thought. I guess we'll see in a couple days the reasoning why. Because again, I can see why Moog needs to be defeated. I just didn't get Radon as much.
Yeah, Radon's weird. Like, I feel like we'll get an explanation when it comes out, but like, I like Radon. I understand he is one of the most important demigods. Like I said, he opens up a lot of side quests, but it's like, what is the connection between Radon and Miquella in the Land of Shadow? Maybe, potentially, did Radon also hold back the veil that covered up the Land of Shadow?
Now that's some good food for thought. I could see that being possible because I mean, like, you don't get access to like Nokron, the Eternal City, because Radon was holding the star back. So maybe you need Miquella to transport you there by touching his hand, but also Radon's star will destroy the veil near Mogwin's palace that maybe is hiding the Land of Shadows. Because I'm thinking maybe that's another secret within like the Eternal Cities. Maybe they were buried there and they were kept there to like hide the shadow shadow DLC. God, I cannot speak right now.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Dude, what if it's all a decoy? What if Miquella egg was just a decoy the entire time? What if we were fooled for 2.5 years?
It was all fake. The allegations against Moog were not true.
We're not true. He committed no crimes. Moog is innocent.
Moog is
God.
not a Subway CEO. You do not need to check his hard drives.
Jesus Christ. Oh Lord. But yeah, I feel like that about does it for some of our speculation and insight onto what we are thinking about the DLC. What are you thinking, Brewer?
Dude, I'm just so ready for it. Like, I have so many theories, but I just can't wait for it to actually be out to see like what the actual hell is going on with the Land of Shadows.
Yeah,
Because
it's like
again, beyond the weapons and stuff and the new bosses that I'm really excited for, I'm also excited for like some of the lore involved and also lore with the new bosses. Like that one crazy new one they had in a picture the other day. It was like this person that was like hunched over with like crazy long arms holding two chakram scythes or something. With
I
what
don't know
looked
which
like
one you're
some,
talking about. That sounds sick, actually.
yeah, it looked like they had some horns sticking out maybe, so potentially an omen. And then they had like one eye covered up. Either
I
way, From Software can
Yeah.
make some interesting designs.
If if what is to be coming, like like with usually the trends of the DLCs from Software games, the DLC is typically the best part of the game. I would argue different for Dark Souls 3. That's my hot take. But typically the DLC is the best part. People who hate Dark Souls 2 admit that the DLC for those games is really good. So, we're in
Wait.
for some of
Admitting the DLC is good.
well, I mean, well, the 3 DLCs that Dark Souls 2 had. But
No, I know.
yeah, it had 3.
Admitting the DLCs you paid for are good. I'm sorry, that's just a funny statement.
Exactly. Exactly. But
Yeah, I'm gonna have to admit, I think the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC is gonna be good.
guys, I pre-ordered the DLC. I haven't thought about it until right now, but I think it's gonna be aight. I think it's gonna be aight. Yeah,
yeah, I think it's gonna be aight.
it's pretty fine. Nothing extraordinary, just fine. Uh, but for real
two
though,
years
like
for fine.
2 years are fine. But for real though, I'm really excited for this DLC. We're gonna get a shake up to the lore. We're getting a fuck ton of content too. I mean, I saw Vati Vidya's tweet. For context, we are recording the day reviews for the DLC is out. Vati Vidya on Twitter has said that Miyazaki was right saying that it is the size of Limgrave, but he forgot to add the fact that it is 5 Limgraves stacked onto one another.
Yeah. Again, we can never trust what this man says in interviews because he was like, "Oh yeah, Elden Ring just took like 30 hours to beat." Fucking liar.
It took me 95 hours before I beat the game. I didn't even do all the remembrance bosses.
before I did the rest of the Remembrance bosses, I think it took me like 60 hours or
It's a
something.
long fucking game.
Yeah, even if you're like speed running through it, like I kind of was for my first playthrough, like it's still a big ass game. It takes forever to get through, and I still haven't explored everything in the game. Like I've done all the Remembrance bosses, but there's still more I could find.
Yeah, like side quests or like certain items or maybe like a talisman or two. Dude, there's so much shit in this game,
Yeah, and now
and
there's
it's
gonna be
gonna get
even more.
bigger.
Like what did they say? Eight new weapon types.
Yeah, there's like 8 or 10 new weapon types, which I want to kind of briefly cover and then we can end this. But yeah, we have perfumer weapons, we have throwable weapons, we have a new class called the light greatsword, which is like a very slim greatsword that can attack very fast. And we have like fist weapons. We have reversed daggers where like you hold them in reverse. You know, usually if you hold like if you extend your wrist
Reverse
out.
grip.
Yeah, reverse grip swords. We're getting those. But
Hmm.
God, it's crazy that like the whole dynamic of the game and how you play it is going to change just like that. And like Shadow of the Erdtree is not only is it just adding more content to the game, but it's like revitalizing like what made Elden Ring Elden Ring. It's making the game more and better, which is just that's just what you want in DLC, you know?
Oh yeah, and I can't wait for there to be a busted ass new legendary weapon or something that people are gonna like two hit a boss with.
Would not surprise me if it's a bleed build weapon.
Yeah.
But with that
bleed
being
builds try
said,
not to be busted challenge.
impossible. But with that being said, guys, if you like content like this, please leave a like and subscribe to tell us that, hey, we like Shadow of the Erdtree too. We think it's pretty aight.
Oh yeah, pretty aight.
And also leave a comment down below as to tell us what's your favorite part about the DLC if you've played it, and or what are you excited for most. But with that being said, guys, this has been Fetch Quest on our Midnight Bullshit on speculating the story and lore of Shadow of the Erdtree. Thank you very much for watching. See you later.
Bye everybody.